Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Money Talk, and I'm your co-host, Blair Braden. Today is July 31st, 2020, and I'm going to be discussing recession, earnings, and the Federal Reserve. Just like a lot of things in our life right now, this last week as an investor has been both quite depressing and also quite exciting in both veins. We're going to start with the bad news, circle back around to the good news, hopefully. Starting with the bad news, it became official from my perspective that we are in a recession in the United States. Of course, we were all expecting that with everything that's been going on this year with COVID. However, the numbers did come out, and we've had 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP, which is the technical definition of recession. With that, Jerome Powell, the Fed president, spoke this week in terms of what they see their game plan is. He laid out a fairly dire scenario in terms of how things are currently and stated that this is probably the worst economic scenario that all of us experienced in our lifetime. With that, he committed that the Federal Reserve will be there to support and give a backdrop to the stock market. One thing that I believe is one of the major contributors as to why the stock market continues to perform fairly well, given the scenario that we're in the recession, is what the Federal Reserve has done in this time period to offer support. I was asked earlier this week, what does that mean? Why is it a good thing that the Federal Reserve is offering support to the stock market, or how are they doing that? In my mind, it all comes down to liquidity and the access to cash from a business person's perspective. As the Fed has implemented some of these policies this year, it has really given confidence to business people that cash will be available, that they can get access to money. And there's several ways that they've gone about doing it. But in general, I believe that's what they have done that has given business people confidence through this time period. That does bring up a concern of mine. Longer term concern, and that is inflation. So the Federal Reserve has effectively created this money, which again could, I believe, lead to longer term inflation, which some inflation can be good. However, we don't want it running away from us. I've been proven wrong on this. The Fed had done several similar activities, in the 2008-2009 crash. Now, it looked different then, and they did different things, but similar size of packages. I've been expecting to see inflation since then, and yet we've seen deflation in some areas. So going forward, are we going to see inflation? I don't know. I think that some of the activities that have been done by the Fed during this time could absolutely lead to inflation, but it's something that we want to watch. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. If it does happen, and we'll have some telltale signs that help lead us in that direction and hopefully give us some insight that it's happening. There are things investors can do to help protect against things like inflation. One of the biggest things they can do is making sure they don't have too much money in cash. Cash is the worst asset to own during an inflation time period. Owning things like real estate, and even certain stocks absolutely can help you fight the fight of inflation. Now, at Denver Wealth Management this year in our portfolios, as you well know, we've made a lot of changes in your accounts, more than normal. And I say that with the idea that if we see inflation really starting to spur, are there actions that we can take to help address that? Absolutely. Do we have a process in place and the people here to help us transition portfolios to adjust for inflation and prepare and hedge against that risk? Absolutely we do. Now, there's no guarantees, of course, that we can see anything coming down the track, but we're watching that one. And that one is something that is of a concern of ours. Following up here is earnings. So we're in the midst of earnings season. A lot of forecast as to how that would go, what would happen. There's plenty of companies that I think all of us would realize, they're not going to do very well. And other companies that, they should do extremely well. Tech earnings came out yesterday with a lot of the big tech companies. As we would have expected, they were good, but maybe what we didn't expect is how good they were going to be. Phenomenal earnings for large tech companies that came out yesterday. Again, what does that mean going forward? Our thought process has changed around investing a little bit. through this time period. And I believe every advisor in our office here is concerned that technology is the way of the future. No big surprise to anybody. But we're questioning how much money do we own in technology, and do we need to own more, as that seems to be where the puck is moving, has been for the last 10 years. All of our clients' portfolios have a large degree currently of technology in there. Depends on how aggressive or not you are. But that's something that we have increased our exposure to, not only this year, but years prior. Now it's still, in my opinion, not overdone. We still have some room there, and that we're not getting too concentrated. We still have diversity in our technology. But this earnings season really showed us that our world is changing, and I think that it's a good thing for investors to make sure that they have a proper allocation to that technology sleeve that can probably help us, again, keep up and outpace with inflation as time goes on, and really add to performance in accounts as time goes on. So that's the week in review. We are always happy to answer questions on all of this, to talk more in depth about it. Happy to do so. I hope everybody's staying safe out there, finding some ways to find some joy and happiness still through this very trying time. And want to remind everybody of the events section on our website, the different educational events that we may have coming up, the charity programs that we have going on. If you'd like to participate in any of those, we'd love to have you. If you have questions, please contact our office. Austin's great and would be happy to chat with you about more details on those different events, but it's in the events section under our website. We love questions. We love chatting with everybody, so please don't hesitate if you have them. Thanks a lot and have a great weekend, everybody.